Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 yo, go. Hustle hard, hustle every single day. I'll be making moves till I'm buried in my grave. To the system, I don't wanna be a slave. I've been doing shit.
Welcome to Outside the Box, Inside the Money. I'm your host, Jay Stanley, the DFS Outsider. Man, I am excited to be here tonight. And sorry, had a double audio going there, feedback, but I'm great. Wyndham Championship, man. Here we go. The FedEx playoffs are right here. Who's gonna get in? We got? Let's look at the playoff standings here. Stephen Fitz and Jackson Koivin right there in the positions, but we have a lot of good golfers in this tournament. Right here in the 70s, we got Mac Meisner, Keegan Bradley, Andrew Putnam, Johnny Kiefer, Jason Day, Austin Smotherman, Stephen Yeager, David Lipsky, and several others in the field further down the line. It's going to take some great golf. It's going to take some nerves of steel. This is the last chance to get in. Some of these guys are going to need really good finishes, maybe even a win to get in. But further you go down the line, like these guys here in the upper 70s and beyond are going to need minimum top 10 like type finishes. So I'm excited. We got last year's winner of this tournament who absolutely dismantled this field, Cam Young. He is going to be the class of the field. He won this tournament by 6 strokes last year. And Cam Young does everything well. So he's long off the tee, but he has the all-around game. If he's clicking and his putter is going, he's going to be really tough to beat. He is the betting favorite. I believe he's around 8-1. So we're not getting quite Scotty Scheffler prices, but really it's Cam Young and then the others. That's kind of how I look at this slate. Now, that doesn't mean that we need to go crazy throwing 100% on Cam Young. As we know, the DFS Outsider, I like to play a lot of lineups. I believe I have close to 200 lineups. I definitely we're going to have a good amount of Cam Young. I'm not exactly sure what the ownership is going to be, but the projections are probably, I've heard upper 30s, maybe even around 40% ownership, depending on where you look. But I guess depending on if it's a single entry or these cheaper ones, I don't know. But I'm going to have a lot of exposure. But Jackson Koivin right there is going to be right priced under him at 10,100. Patrick Cantley withdrew from this tournament, and he's already set for the FedEx Cup, so maybe he's just I'm going to get a little rest going into the playoffs. But Hideki's been playing phenomenal. If you guys have read my news articles, listened to my live show last week, I've been all over Hideki. I know Hideki is a very streaky golfer, and he's on the heater right now. He's playing out of his mind. And I just feel like this is not the type of course where just like screams Hideki, but Hideki's hitting it really well. When he's hitting, he's not going to have to hit the driver here. I think he will be able to club down. He's playing much more accurate off the tees, off the tee numbers. Let's go ahead and just look at it a little bit. I don't mean to go into a deep dive just yet, but I'm just super excited about how he's playing. So he's gained strokes 4 straight tournaments, all T14 or higher. Fifth last week, third the week before. His approach numbers were insane last week. We know he can get the putter rolling. Didn't have a great week putting last week, but if he gets back to it, he's hitting the ball the same way that he was. He could slice this course up and be right in contention. So I like his outright prices too. He's very like volatile golfer, but right now he's in form, so I'm not afraid to play him. Other guys in the field: Justin Thomas, Ryan Gerard, Tom Kim, who I love this week. I like me some Ben Griffin, Maverick Neely, Keegan Bradley, who desperately needs a good finish here, and I think he will do so. Aaron Rye, who looked absolutely terrible overseas, gets back to the type of course where he can be super successful. Alex Fitzpatrick and so on. Lots of these. All the guys that need the points are in here playing. The guys in the 60s, the 70s, and beyond are all here. I don't really consider this a super weak field. I just think that you don't have the superstar firepower, but you have a lot of upper mid-grade talent here. So the forecast for this weekend in Greensboro should be pretty nice in the mornings, and then kind of like Florida weather where I'm at, the afternoon thunderstorms. It's going to be like hovering around upper 80s to maybe even 90 degrees, and you see those showers come in. One thing to note, that with the Bermuda grass here at the course, you're going to see some pretty nasty as the weekend progresses. I think you're going to see the rough getting thicker and thicker, and it's going to be very challenging for these golfers. I think driving accuracy is going to be super important. This course has a lot of trees, and the fairways are not super huge. There's dog legs, there is creeks, there's water in play. There's a lot of spots where you hit it and you're just going to get some terrible Bermuda lies. You're going to be behind trees. So I think just nice positional golf, guys who can hit the short irons and get hot with a putter. And let's be honest, I mean, that it opens the field up for a lot of different type of players. Like we said, we know Cam Young can just straight up dominate because there's Cam Young in this field talent wise, and there is a step down. Hideki, probably Justin Thomas, maybe the only two guys like even in the same conversation. And then you just have a lot of guys that do certain things well, or play solid, or play very volatile. What I'm looking for in my profile for DFS players is I don't give a shit about consistency. I'm looking for the ceiling plays. I want guys that it's okay, their volatility. I don't give a shit if they miss a lot of cuts. If they have the package that they can come here and put on a good show and get a lot of birdies. That's what we're talking about. But this course is, I believe, let me look here, 7,131 yard par 70. There's 2 par 5s that give some eagle opportunities. But we're going to see basically par 4 scoring is going to be very important. And guys that they got a couple super long par 4s, but a lot of birdie opportunities otherwise. So my baseline, I like to always go with the strokes gained tee to green right off the get. I want complete golfers. So that's just like me. To me, that's like the foundation of when I start my research. I want guys that just to start my week. I look at that. We know who the guys are in this field, especially. I'm looking for good drives at this course, driving accuracy, but I kind of want the whole picture. I want guys that set up into their next shot, into their approach shot. Par 4 scoring, proximity, approach proximity from 125 to 175. And then shots gained putting on Bermuda. Bermuda putting is completely different than you see with the other types of grass, with the POA and the other types of grass, because of It's just a more complicated, the way the grass, the way the grain get, it just, the way the grass runs, like puts, depending on the slope, ball speed, and just like reading these greens. And some guys are just really good at it, and some guys are not. So that's another determining factor. I want guys that can sink those 5 to 10 footers and not not be intimidated by these greens. I'm also looking at bogey avoidance because we're looking at a tournament that's likely going to go under, minus 18, minus 20. We saw Cam went 22 under last year. I feel like if you're giving shots back, you might be giving 2 shots back. And if you get into trouble on this course, that really can hurt you. And you can't do that very often in 4 rounds of golf. Like, if you think about it, if you're making a ton of birdies, you can make a mistake here and there. But for some guys that, maybe don't get as many birdies, it's very crucial for them to, not make bogey. So total putts per round. And then obviously course history. This course has been around for a bit. This tournament's been around. Guys that are comfortable here, that have played here and play well time in and time in out again. Those are definitely determining factors into my metrics when I'm looking at everything here. So let's talk about some golfers. Okay, so with the weather being possibly raining, if you're doing single day showdown type tournaments, might want to favor maybe guys in the morning a little bit. I don't think it's massively different, but there could be delays, and the storms could bring a little higher winds, and I don't think I think the softer greens might be good in a way, but it might hurt. It just I prefer the nice conditions. I think it'll be soft enough. I think these guys will be going wedges and 9 irons in. Should be able to a lot of these guys should be able to stick these greens. Now with the Donald Ross design, we know that the greens are going to have different areas. There's going to be definitely the approach is going to be important as well. So we're looking to attack, man. I think the guys that are, it's kind of a complicated scenario. So guys that are trying to stay in, I would just play my game. I wouldn't expect them to play too conservatively. I think guys that further down the board are going to have to attack. They're going to have to play aggressive and take some chances and try to climb the leaderboard. And I think guys that are closer, maybe, you wonder if that comes into play. Like if you're just trying to get into the playoffs, let's say you're going into Sunday and you're sitting pretty good on the board, and if you're just looking, to play par, maybe just if you can play 1 under or something, for the day, maybe that might factor into decisions. But I've always found it's good to just play your game. If you look at NFL football, how many times do you see a team get up and you quit, the defensive coordinator goes, all right, guys, let's put the whole team back on defense. Let them, 20 yards off the ball and let them march down the field. Then we'll try to stop them in the red zone. And I don't like that. I think it's best to play your way, play the way that you play, and hope for the best. So, all right, John Barnes, nice to see you. Lonnie the Hawk Hawkins guaranteed top 10 this week. Holy cow, that is hilarious. I just watched that show, and man, that was some great stuff. I love when his son's tripping balls on the couch, and the couch starts eating him alive. That's great. And his caddy is hilarious. I thought that was a great show, but man, who would be the Lonnie Hawkins of this field? I don't know. I'm trying to think here. Like, who's the old timer that needs to get in here and maybe wreak some havoc, in this tournament? There's probably quite a few names down there in the 6,000 range that could fit that mold. Maybe not quite the colorful personality of the Hawk, but all right. So let's talk. Let's talk players here. So we talked about Cam Young. It's very easy to fit him into your lineups. There's no ridiculous Scotty fucking Scheffler pricing. Yeah, he's not even in the field, and I'm still upset. I almost 100 times love tournaments where he's not in the field because I don't even have to deal with the ridiculous pricing that they put on him. So you can fit Cam and like you literally there's so many ways to build. I think it just opens it up to a exponential amount of different types of lineups that you can build. You can leave a ton of money on the table. I've done it all. I've literally really focused on building all kinds of different builds. I mean, just I'm starting from the middle. I'm starting with the bottom. I'm pairing these two guys that I like and playing them with other golfers. So I'm sticking to my core and just throwing some darts around it and trying to leave money on the table. The lineups that are less chalky, I'm trying to I don't know. I listen to several different podcasts and shows, and I understand there's a lot of people who agree on certain players, and there's some of those players I disagree on. Brian Harmon is one, and I hear a lot of people like, "Oh, he's such great at these short accuracy fests," but he has not shown me shit in this tournament. Now, does that mean I'm gonna completely fade the guy? No, I'm just not gonna be quite as high on a Brian Harmon as a lot of other guys. I do believe in the data. I do believe that there's variance, and just because a guy hasn't been successful at a particular tournament over a few years sample doesn't mean that he cannot do so. I use basically the course history is kind of a tiebreaker, but I think it should in certain courses factor in. This is one of them that I really think that course history does kind of matter, and I'm not as high on Brian Harmon as some people are. All right, so let's talk about we talked about Cam Young, Jackson Coyven. Listen, the guy's a stud. He's a superstar in the making. When I say superstar, I'm not going out on a limb to say it would not surprise me to see this guy go win multiple majors. It would not down the road. It would not surprise me to see him win multiple tournaments a year. I just believe he is that type of elite talent. Now you're seeing the pricing here. I think that's based on the strength of field, but this isn't a great spot for him because he does everything well. He's highly competitive. The guy, I was watching him he's the type of guy who hits a great golf shot. He puts it 10 feet from the hole and he's pissed at himself because he really wanted to put it, a little bit more to the right or a little deeper. It's just next level talent. And I'm really excited to see him. I'm definitely going to have a lot of exposure to him. I'm guessing he'll be in the mid-20s somewhere. I'll probably be closer to 30% ownership on him. People are talking about Ryan Gerard. Ryan Gerard's playing great golf right now. So let's look he's literally T8, T9, T26. He had a second at the Memorial. He's playing great golf. Another guy missed the cut here twice. I'm sure he was not playing quite as well going in, but he's not this super accurate greens guy. And on top of that, yes, he can get the hot putter going. He's not as elite ball striker. He is striking it fairly well right now. Same type of scenario. I'll have exposure. We've seen green across the board in 2 straight tournaments, but this is going to be tighter. This is going to be, can't miss a lot of shots. I will have exposure, but it's not going to be crazy. I think he's going to be very owned in this tournament. I prefer Tom Kim. Tom Kim at 9,200. Listen, this is what Tom Kim does. He hits it straight. He's great with his irons. If you just look at his approach game, is it the highest? It is the highest. It's the highest in the field. So I just expect him to be firing at pins, and if the putter cooperates, which it's been doing pretty well this last few weeks. So if you look at his putting numbers, he's had a couple a stretch where he did really poor most of the season. He kind of ironed it out. Um, Not great the last couple weeks, but you know in contention, even with so my gamble is going to be that the putter does a little bit better here. I think he's going to have some great looks, and I believe he's going to have a great week. I really believe so. He's one of the guys I think that really has a shot at winning this tournament as well. Ben Griffin likes this course. All right, 9100. He loves the course. Not a super long guy, but does it's great short game. And the thing about Brendan Griffin is, here as of late, he is approach game has been elite. So he went through a stretch earlier in the year. He's very streaky, iron player. Off the tees, kind of like week to week, whether he's going to be hitting it that well. But it's the approach game that's really impressed me. And I think with the approach game, I think he's going to be clubbing down. I think he's going to be firing away, and I think he's got a total top 10 upside for sure. So I really like him. Um, Keegan Bradley is interesting just for the simple fact that I think he's a veteran, and I know he knows what he knows. He knows what he needs to do. He needs to go get it done. He doesn't want to miss the playoffs. Believe me, he does not want to do that. So I expect him to show up. He played pretty well with the Rocket, and I think he's in prime position to do pretty well. Aaron Rye is going to be super popular, and if you look, the win a couple years back, he top five last year. He did not play well on the links, and which does not surprise me. But the accuracy, the tee degree game, it's all gonna just come down to, does Aaron Rye have a decent week with the putter? If he putts well, he could win this tournament. If he putts a little better than normal, he could definitely top 10 this tournament. If he's is normal or below, we might see him, make the cut, but not, maybe not be inside the top, 15 or 20. So, but he's definitely a guy that has win upside. So I'm going to have exposure to him, but he's going to be super popular. Definitely be super popular. I'm a little underweight on Alex Fitzpatrick, and hear me out on this. The confidence was rolling super high. He goes overseas, misses a couple cuts, and here we go to a course where putting is going to be super important. He's not the biggest stud with the flat stick, so some guys that I really like here. I like Davis Thompson. In fact, probably my favorite play on the slate. Back to back great weeks. Playing well and coming to a course where he plays well. I think his approach game is playing so well. I think he's going to be hitting these greens. He's not the greatest scrambler in the world, but dude, he went nuts with the putter last week and played pretty well the couple weeks before with the putter. I'm seeing a trend of putting better, elite approach game, off the tee game, very good. Tee to green all over. I like it. I like what I see, and I think that that's definitely going to be in play for me. We talked about Brian Harmon and Mac Meisner. Brian Harmon, just not liking the history here. I will have some exposure. Mac Meisner likes the course. Good short game, and he's definitely going to be in play for me. Mac Meisner at 8,100 is a phenomenal value play. If you go back and look the T26 here last time out, his approach numbers were not phenomenal, but really, really good off the tee, which was encouraging, and putted well. We know that he can get even hotter with the putter. So Mac Meisner is somebody I'm definitely going to have a good amount of exposure to. Blades Brown, 7,800. This range of players right here, Gim, Brown, M, Cole, or excuse me, Ben Coles. This is an area I like a lot. And I've been kind of thinking about playing. Alex Fitzpatrick is a sneaky top 10 play. I'm showing it that he's probably like 15% or so. I was just talking about him. No course history here. And what I worry about with Alex Fitzpatrick is the flat stick. And let's do a deeper dive and just look at the putter. So he's lost strokes 4 in a row with the putter on a course, and it was very terrible at the Open Championship. So you get a guy that has no confidence with the putter and going to a course that is super popular with putter. So I'll have a little bit of exposure just because of the talent, and let's just say he's rolling it and gets back to feeling good. He was overseas. So I'll have a little bit of exposure, but just not one of my favorite plays. I'm more interested in this range right here. Blades Brown, same thing. Hasn't played this course, but the guy is like a top 10 machine, top 12 machine. It's just like every time he goes out. Now look what he does. He's accurate. He can be long, but I think he'll be teeing down. His tee degree numbers are great. He's good with the putter. He's a good scrambler. He's right there. You know, I think Jackson Coyvin's a little more hyped than Blades Brown, but I'm equally as excited. And at 7,800, I will have a ton of exposure. He's listed at like 14%. I'm probably gonna have double that. I think I do have double that. I'm like upwards of mid to upper 20s with him. I also have a lot of interest in Sanjay, course history, and this is the deal with Sanjay. Let's go back and look. And I know everybody's like, oh, Sanjay, you know, he's let a lot of people down. His iron game has been absolutely dog shit. Absolute dog shit all year. He's had multiple, losing 4, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4 strokes per game. But let's look at 2 out of the last 3 weeks at the Open Championship and at the Rocket, gaining strokes with the iron. The putter's been good. He gained 4 strokes last week with the putter, playing well off the tee. I'm excited. I call me a fool. It'd probably bite me in the ass, but I'm gonna want to have a good amount of exposure to Sanjay, and then Ben Coles. We know the elite ball striking that he's been doing. His approach game is just insane. Off the tee has been good. He's been good with the putter. He's been good everywhere. Look at these results. He's got a first, 19th, 3rd, 5th, 9th, 26th. The guy's right there. He's way underpriced. And there's just such a large group. He's going to be pretty highly owned, probably close to 20%. But the leverage right here might be Sanjay or Blades Brown. Doug Gim, not a lot of course history, but you think that he would play. The type of golfer is you think he would play well. He might be one of those guys that I think that could just step up and have a really good week. Let's talk about some other guys that I really like. JT Poston won already this year. T4 has kind of gotten out of form, but now we get back to a JT Poston type of course. And I think he's going to be fairly low owned. He's going to be sub 10%. It's a guy that interests me a lot. Bud Cauley, cut here. This is one of those guys I was talking about. 2 cuts in a row, but he's playing well. And this is the type of course, if he gets the putter going, which has not looked terribly bad. Last week he gained 6 strokes on the putter. Excuse me, when he at the Open Championship, he gained 6 strokes. He's very streaky with the putter, so I want to gamble that he has a good day with the flat stick. That's the type of guy I want. He can get super hot or be super cold. He's either going to finish T3 or miss the cut. I mean, that's the kind of guys that I like to play, right? Chris Kirk played well last week. Played well last year here. Same thing. Not a great putter. Just not. But has the ability. If he's hitting irons well and he gets a couple going, he's the type of guy that could get a lot of momentum going. This is what really a funny thing is Sepp Straka has just been absolutely terrible. But if you look back earlier in the year, so this is, I'm trying to like, I don't want it to bite me in the ass, but he had a good putting week at the Open. Um, his approach game was solid the week before that, but it was so good up before that. And it's just like I look back and I'm just like, man, this is a guy with a lot of talent that nobody's going to play. I'm not going to have a lot of him just because the form is just not there. I do believe in form, but I'm also looking for super talent with super low ownership. And you want to be to win these tournaments sometimes you have to be ahead of the field. You got to be the guy like Hideki. I've been on him for a few weeks. It's not like oh no, look, Hideki's played great the last 2 weeks. No, I've been on him. When you see the signs like the ball striking and or the putter or whatever they've been struggling with, you see some signs of them coming out of it. I want to kind of gamble on those type of players a little bit, so I will have some exposure to him. Um, Michael Kim has been really good, really good. He has a history of a T5 here, and he's playing well. Why not? 7,300. Probably not going to be crazy owned. There'll be a lot of people playing him, but guy definitely is going to need to be in some lineups. Grillo, very accurate player that just needs to get the putter going. He's a guy that you can throw in there. Um, Down into the value. So this is what separates the men for the boys. So let's do a hypothetical and say three of these guys out of the top 10 in pricing are in the top 10. Let's just say that. I think that's a very viable scenario. And maybe even four or five. It's possible. But I definitely could see Cam Young, Koiven, Hideki, and Tom Kim, or Ben Griffin, or any one of the Aaron Rai. You see a lot of these guys up near the top of the leaderboard. If you could stuff three of them in your lineup, you're gonna have to need to come. That forces you down here. But this is some tournaments sub 6K really intimidates me. I am not intimidated here because I see a lot of just like risky type plays. Like I'll just start naming names, guys that look, Eckroat's had some success here. Billy Horschel likes this place, right? He had a T13 at the 3 Open 2 weeks back. This is a guy that could do the same thing. You have to be in the optimal. You got all these guys: Harry Hall, Bo Hostler, Nicholas Echeverria. These guys all have balled out here before. Max McGreevy, like Taylor Moore has played well here, although he's playing like complete dog shit right now. But you guys got Matthew McCarty did great here last year. We have Luke Clanton, a young talent that's really just like Seamus Power. Chris Ventura could fucking do something. We have Lucas Glover, an ex-winner down here. We got Patrick Fishburne, who played super here last year. We got Webb Simpson, like Webb Simpson, like a dude that this is like if there's anywhere that Webb Simpson's going to play well, it's here. And he's done it. T5, T7. I know we're probably far removed from that type of play, but it could happen. Carl Phillips played well here last year. You look at another guy, Mark Hubbard played well last year. Matty Cooch could have a week. Just it goes on and on. There's a lot of value down here. If we want to go into like deep value, there's Trace Crow, Lanto, you know, there's guys down here. You know what I'm saying? I like David Lipsky. I just hasn't done anything crazy good here, but you know, played pretty well at the Rocket. John Deere looked good. I think he's rested. He's a guy could sneak up in there. We could go back to the wall with Chandler Phillips. Kind of disappointed us this week. It missed the cut after playing so well for 3 weeks, but he could get right back at it. So there's plays. There's definitely value to be had. So let's have some fun here. Let's build some lineups. If you have any questions, you can throw them into the chat. But let's work on some lineups. All right. So Let's talk about how we construct. So DFS outsider mindset is we obviously are looking for lower owned. If you're going to play the chalk, there's good chalk. Anybody says, "Oh, you should fade Cam Young," okay, well, you can fade Cam Young, but I'm not a guy who plays 1, 3, or 5 lineups. I play a ton of lineups, so I'm going to have a lot of exposure to Cam Young. But how many people start going, "Oh, I want Cam Young and I want Hideki. I think these are the two best players in the field." All right. And that leaves us 7,500, which is still very viable in this tournament. Not a bad starting point, but let's for for informational purposes, I like to build elsewhere. So I'm like, where's a guy like we talked about Blades Brown and Davis Thompson. Like these are two guys that I like a lot. So let's start there. And now let's throw one value play in here with them. I like Denny this week a lot. I like Billy Horschel. Let's throw Billy. Let's throw the veteran in there who's shown that he absolutely loves this course. And now look, that leaves us 8,900 for the last three. So, we said we like Sanjay, we like Coles. So since we're not super chalky, I think we can go with Coles. And now that puts us at 9,500. Throw Tom Kim in there. That leaves us at 98. And we have Hideki. So building this way gets you to different lineups, right? So I didn't get to Cam. I have 300 left on the table here. And this lineup could very easily win this tournament. It just wouldn't surprise me. If you wanted to go a little different route, you could say, "Oh, I want to throw in Aaron Rye instead." And now I have 10-2 enough to fit in Jackson. Another very high upside lineup. All right. If you want to start, and let's just say, hey, let's play the top two. Puts us down to 73. Now, let's go get some value so we can get to some of those mid-7 guys. So, Matty Cooch. Let's go Chandler Phillips here. All right, that puts us at 7,600. Now we can target these guys that we're looking at here. We already talked about JT Boston. Besidenhout, we know his short game's great. He can play well in a given week. And that leaves us with 8,000. A lot of people are going to come right here and go, "Oh, okay, look, we can fit Jordan Spieth in the lineup. We can fit Keith Mitchell." I'm like, okay, let's leave some money on the table. Let's go down here to Ben Colley. We'll leave 600 on the table. This is a sexy lineup. So that's kind of like my mindset. Build a lineup from bottom up with Kiefer and Clanton. So two young studs. Hey, I'll be honest with you. I like to play, like, if you think about who's winning a lot of these tournaments, and you're seeing a lot of young names. You're seeing these guys on the leaderboard, which is really exciting. Clanton played great last week. So Clanton, I believe Kiefer's like 7,200. Yeah. All right, so let's start them. That's 8,900, right? So now we're sitting at 8,900. All right, so going to go with the young studs here. And let's see what that leaves us. It leaves us 8,900. So if we put one more good value, so let's talk about these strong 7 plays. We have Griot, it's Asune, Michael Kim. I mean Cole, James, Colley. A lot of these guys are high upside players. We already talked about Boston. Let's throw Michael Kim in there, who's playing really, really well right now, and that puts us at 9,500 for the last 3. Okay, there's different approaches now. So you're like, okay, I definitely want. Let's say you definitely want Cam in there. Now you're at 9,100. So you can go a little bit above and a little bit below. You can do an Aaron Rye. That leaves you. You can either get to JT, Gerard, Tim. I think a lot of people would click one of these two names right here, right? Because I think this is. I mean, you got 2 very high winning upside guys. You got 3 guys that definitely you could find in on the top 10 of the leaderboard. And I would personally go down here to like a Ben Griffin. All right, leaves me 300. I think that would be less owned. I think if you threw Gerard or JT in, it'd probably be a little more. You could even get a little more funky and come down here and throw a Brennan or a Fitzpatrick in. You know what I'm saying? Um, I'm not even opposed to doing something wild like that. Throwing a Mac Meisner in there. You're leaving 1,300 on the table. You're pretty much guaranteeing yourself a unique lineup. But you're going to hear different philosophies about this. So how often? So I'm playing in this tournament. So let's say I'm playing in this. This is the $25 200K to first sand trap, right? There's 32,900, 33,000 people in this tournament, right? Let's say you're throwing. I think I have 4 entries into this tournament. I don't go crazy on the higher buy-in events. I do put my stabs in there. I play mostly the 3. I think I have like I think I maxed the 50 cent and the $3, and then I played 4 in this. That's kind of what I did. And I think I might have some in the 5 too. Yeah, I do. The $5. Um, if you're going against 33,000 freaking people, if you're playing Cam Young and Aaron Rye, you're playing 2 of the chalkiest players. You want to have it. The reason you want to have a unique lineup is very simple. All right. And I'm going to say it like this is you don't want to chop. All right. You don't want to be, you're like, oh, okay. Well, if I win 200,000 and I split it 3 ways and we split the first 3 prize pools or 5 ways, how often do you win? If you're playing whatever your doesn't even matter what your bankroll is, because the higher limits you're playing, the more expectation you have for winning. So, but when you do win, you want your wins to be you want to take it all. I want first place. I want first place. I don't want to instead of winning 200K, like, oh, how often are you going to win this tournament? You know? So especially if you're only putting in a few entries. Now the 150 max entry or 20 max entry, if you're throwing all those bullets every week, I think the same way. I try to be unique in my builds, not play chalk on top of chalk on top of chalk, and try to fit in some stuff. So I think it's very reasonable to play something like that and leave 300 on the table. May or may not be unique, probably unique, but maybe not. But maybe not. You never know. You could always go, okay, if I want to get a little more funky, you can throw Kim out and try to get somebody a little cheaper in here, maybe a little less owned, like a Billy Horschel, Kevin Yu, say Ricky Castillo. There's a guy you could throw in. Now you got 500. Guarantee this is more than likely a unique lineup. So I'm digging it. This is just different ways to build. If you want to more balanced build, so you're really have 8,300. So this is your line. You're gonna go up or below that. So you could do like Harmon, Dean Thompson, maybe go a little bit lower down here to get you some value. Throw you a Michael Kim and a Griot in. Now you got 9,400. You can throw Gerard and Hideki in there. Super balanced. You don't have any like sub 7,000 players. This is another strategy you can go with. But for build purposes, if I'm just talking like I just want to not give a shit about all that, if you're looking for just strength, I think your best plays are Cam Young, high upside. I like Ben Griffin. I like Dean Thompson. I like Meisner. I like Blades Brown. Okay, but problem now is we're down in the 6,000. So okay, let's get rid of Meisner and go a little bit down here to maybe a Kiefer. And it leaves you 7,100 to throw Billy Horschel or Kevin Yu, or you can fit you in an Echeverria. So another very strong way to build is pick your best plays and then try to get a little different elsewhere. So that's pretty much that. So that's my different thoughts for the week. There's guys that I totally want to pivot off of, and I'm gonna a little less Gerard. I'm gonna pivot off of Alex Fitzpatrick. I'm not gonna have hardly any Harris English. It might bite me, but just not a Harris English guy. Once in a while, I get a Walt Bone. Guys that I'm pivoting off of. Oh, Hojgaard coming off the great tournament this last week. I think he's going to be a little inflated. I'm not going to have much of him. Um, and yeah, those are just guys that I pivot off of. Um, I think the strength is pretty obvious here. It's just the way you construct and trying to be a little bit unique around and fiddling with your pool players. I think there's definite, you know, ways of like let's say you play the top three. You can still come down here and get you a decent lineup. Let's say Snedeker. There's the Hawk, Brent Snedeker, the Hawk. And then throw you a Smotherman who needs to play well, and now that leaves a 6,900. And you can go with a Seamus or Kevin Ventura who's playing really well. So, and just try different combinations of these guys, trying to find those cheap guys to run with them if you think those three guys are going to stud out on you. But I like to be a little bit different. That's not a strategy I'm going to be employing a lot, but I'm definitely going to have two of these guys and occasionally three. So let's say we don't use Cam if we're doing, especially if you're doing Hideki, you could do Hideki, JT, and Ben Griffin. And look what you still have to work with. You still have, that's three top five upside guys right there. Win equity guys. You throw Castillo, throw you a little, Cardi. Now you have 8,000 still for a Ben Coles or a Sunjay or a Blades Brown. Noren's, we know Noren's got a great short game. He could show up here. Spieth Spieth didn't play terrible at the Rocket. He had one round that really wasn't that great, but I thought the ball striking wasn't as terrible as it has been. So it wouldn't surprise me. Hopefully we can get him to start trending upwards or whatnot. So there you have it. Man, like I said before, it's really important. It's important to be different. Don't be different just to be different. Don't just throw random plays. Go with the guys that you like. I mean, I have really, really zoned in on some of these mid plays to play with. My chalkier plays, and I'm just going to be mixing and matching, let's say, Young, Koiven, Matsuyama, Kim, Griffin, and Rye as my core upper with sprinkles, a little bit of, some JT, some Gerard, some Mav, Keegan. I'm gonna have all these guys up here. I'm not high on Brooks this week. Just for a guy for never playing here and a guy that's not putting well and really not playing great this year. Just could he go out and do it? It's Brooks Koepka, man. Brooksy's a very talented golfer. He struggled with injuries. He struggled with different things that have kind of kept him from really being one of the all-time elite golfers. I think he had a stretch where he was just freaking unbelievable, and injuries and some other things have set it back in confidence. And just this isn't the course that I'm looking to go to him. I might have a sprinkle here or there, but there's guys that I'm avoiding in here. But the point is you can mix and match these up top and then mix and match your middle plays and then throw your darts round them while leaving some money on the table. Hey man, money management. Listen, you're not going to win every week. You're playing against let me just see how many people are in. Let's go to PGA and some of these smaller tournaments, man. There's like close to 100,000 people in these tournaments. There's just a lot. You're not going to win every week. Now, listen, don't even judge whether you make like cashing and okay. If you're playing a lot of entries, you're going to get some guys they're going to have obviously some pretty good finishes, whatever. But it offsets by the amount of entries you're putting in and the entry fees you're putting in. So I look at it like this: you're going to be up, you're going to be down. None of that matters. All that shit gets funneled back into the next week. At least for me, I don't care about if I put out $250 or $300 for the week. If I make 190, I make 450, I make 600, down 100, down, up 46. None of that shit matters. That's all week to week, just blah blah blah. I'm looking to withdraw. I want a big hit. I want top threes. I want to win. That's what I really want. We're out here. If you're not playing GPPs to win, if you're playing safe, if you're playing just plays that just like not upside, like, oh, this guy makes a lot of cuts, I'll just have him in there. We're not talking cash games here. We're talking GPPs. We're looking for ceiling. We're not looking for floor. Don't give a fuck about floor. I want guys that just can go out there, make birdies, make a run at a tournament that might fit them, get the hot putter guys, high variance guys. That's who we're looking for. All those, when you heard me going through this list here, I mean, you're looking. Let's just pick a random guy. Let's pick a Tom Hoagie. All right, let's. There we go. This is a guy that can just spike occasionally, right? If you look at his putter, it's pretty much dog shit, right? Dog shit all year. But at the CJ, at the Byron Nelson, he had a great putting week, and his approach game was matched up with his approach game. The PGA Championship, he played well. Same type thing, you know. Good approach game. It was really good. His short game was good. You know, the he had a T10 where his putter wasn't terrible, but his approach game was so good. So this is a guy that can hit good irons and occasionally get that putter hot and going. And that's the type of guy, that's a dart. That's the definition of a DFS outsider dart play. That's the type of guy you throw in there on your lineup, and you're not going to play him 20%, but you're going to sprinkle him in there at 4 or 5%. And if you catch him with the right guys, he's going to be so low owned that if you don't have him, you're not winning the tournament. That's the type of guy I want to have exposure to, you know. And that's what it takes. Like, you really have to, when you want to win these GPP tournaments, and it doesn't even matter the sport. You gotta find the guy that other people are just scared to click the button. You can't be scared. You just gotta click it. I play a lot of lineups that'll make you want to vomit. It's very difficult to leave $1,000 on the table, or leave $2,000 on the table, or leave 1,500, whatever, because you look at the pricing and the player pool, and you're like, I can get a much better golfer into my lineup. In theory, probably a good thing, but sometimes it's not. Sometimes that's the key to winning, is you're catching a couple of those low seven guys, and you're focused. You get 3 or 4 of them in the top 10, and you get them all in your lineups, and you get your one high up, and maybe you catch another guy. That's how you freaking win a tournament, right? You don't have to stuff every last dollar. I'm not necessarily saying you should leave $2,000 on the table. And there's certain tournaments where that's not very viable, especially if you're playing like a Scotty, or you're playing a Rory in a major or something like that. So, yeah, but leave 500 on the table, leave 700. Don't be scared to leave 600, 800 on the table. It's a way of being different. Okay. That's when you have, especially if you're building top down and you're starting with the 2 chalky guys and you're going down. How many people do that? Right. You are not going to be different. You're going to be a needle in a haystack. Right. And you could have a phenomenal week and have a 16th place finish that is not inspiring. Like, oh, yeah, you're gonna make money. You're gonna make a decent amount of a nice little chunk, but that's a decent little chunk is not what if you want to make a decent chunk, grind the fuck out of 50/50s. They're not hard. Okay. Cash game. You want to grind all year and just make some cash. You could get good if you're good enough. That's a way to do it. I don't give a fuck about that. I want to take down GPPs. I want to have super high finishes that if you win, if you get you got to get lucky too. Win one of these 200K, dude. 200K is a nice chunk of cash, dude. like legit, that would almost pay off my house, you know. So I'm all about that sort of thing. Anyways, best of luck to you. Appreciate you tuning in. This is just something that I'm going to be more consistent. I'm going to be doing these shows every week. We're wrapping down golf. Super excited about NFL. Let's talk just a quick minute about NFL football. I've got tons of best balls stuff going throughout the day. I'm getting alerts constantly throughout the day. So I do slow drafts because I like to think about what I'm doing. But training camp is here. Before you know it, it's going to have a quick preseason, and we're going to be right into NFL football. You're going to have all the content. I do a lot of outside the box thinking for NFL. I look at line matchups. I look at I just the way I think low owned. I like WR3s. I like WR4s. I like to find value home run hitters. That's wow. I know how to stack pretty well. I'm very successful in NFL, so I'm very excited for this year. This is one of the, if you really think about this year and the moves and the signings, and just there's a lot of hype around certain teams. There's always hype around the Bills, but they've improved. They look on paper to improve, but it's all about getting out on the field. It's the chemistry. It's this is a pretty wide open season. Like, how are the Chiefs going to be this year? Like, is Patrick Mahomes going to be able to resurrect that team? Like, if they're healthy, and they look like they could be healthy this year. You got the Bengals are hyped. You got the Seahawks again. Like, what are they going to do again? There's when I do my best ball drafts, I do not pick like the highest player on the board. Almost never. Like, I am literally trying to mix things up. Same thing. You're playing against hundreds of thousands of people. I look at like the playoff matchups and kind of like try to target some things in that, especially as I get a little bit more into the middle part of the draft. But man, I made it to the final for the playoff and the regular season best ball last year, and I had a rainy week in my main one and did not have a good finish because it was that Seattle game in the torrential rain, and it cost me because they did not throw the ball, neither team, the entire game, and I had 3 receivers in the game, so that pretty much sealed my deal, fate on that. But part of it all. So thank you for tuning in. Like I said, I'm going to be working on the DFS Outsider Mindset series. I'm in the process of creating and filming those, and I'm going to put them out here before the football season starts. And I'm super stoked. Let's go take down a fucking GPP. Wyndham Championship. Here we go. It is awesome golf we're in store for the next 4 days. I hope the weather stays decent. I'm just, can Cam Young go and destroy this field again? I think he possibly can. I think this is going to be, there's going to be guys, it's going to be guys all over the place that are going to be playing good. And I look forward to a very competitive week. I hope we get the right combination. Let's get some birdie streaks going. Let's get some bogey-free rounds going. Let's climb that leaderboard and take it down because it only takes. We'll see you. Bye.